How you doing, sir?
Okay. How are you?
I'm doing outstanding. So we can actually jump right into it. You know, the question for today is we're going to be discussing qualifications, and I know that you've heard it, I've heard it, but what makes Linda Warden or anyone else qualified to do this work?
Actually, we're all called to do it, one by one, eventually. So it's not a question of that. It's a question of, do you hear the call? Are you ready to do something about it? Are you ready to lift yourself out of whatever it is you want to change? It's always a question of what you want. Stop wanting it and start thinking from it. That's how you change your mind and change your world also. Could you add to that?
I could. So what about the person that says, Lindell DeCarlo, I hear what you guys are saying, but I have no skills, no abilities, so how can I know that I've been called?
Nonsense. Everybody has skills. Everybody has a mission. Everybody has a part to play. Everybody. And you're playing the part. If you're not liking the part, well, you're given to change it. But that takes a little discipline to get quiet enough, long enough to hear what it is you want to hear. Ask. You're told that you receive not because you ask not. That sounds simple enough to cure, wouldn't you say?
I would. So how does one that seems like they're, besides acting, begin to change the part that they're playing? Because, of course, we know that there's some mental things that will need to take place. So how does one begin the change process?
Well, you start everything. You have to start. What is this? If you were going to write a book, what would you need? A pencil and paper. Get the pencil and paper. See, that's what it is. Just start it. You know, if people are always saying, well, I'm not trained. Well, you get training by doing it. Really? I mean, isn't that the truth?
It is. It is.
Isn't that what it says? Do it. Do it. Do a thing.
You know, recently I had posted something on in our Facebook group, and it was about change and so forth, and I had posted it on someone else's Facebook group who had given me the permission to do so. And somebody within that group said, what are your qualifications? Have you experienced what, pretty much what she was saying was, had I experienced what Neville said that one must experience? And I reached out to her privately, and I said, listen, I'm not going to prove myself to you or anyone else. I said, I know that I've been called. And I said, so that's something that you'll have to work through, but that's not something that I have to prove to you. Have you ever experienced that?
Of course. In 40 years, yeah, I've experienced that. Actually, it's just starting whatever you need to start. Start it. Everybody knows how to start. You turn to. First of all, you're invited to turn to God. You turn to me, I'll turn to you. It's very simple. All you have to do is sit down, start off with the thought, and follow through. It's as simple as that. But I know what you're saying. No, I don't have any degrees. I don't have any letters or anything after my name. But it's a feeling that comes over you that you just you can't get away from it. Not that you want to, but the point is that it's something that you feel that you are designed to do, and that's what it is. You're designed to do certain things, and you do them. It's mindsets. Well, actually, you're making your future moment by moment because you're always thinking ahead of your evidence. And if you can identify the evidence with what you said, you just found the secret for change your mind, change your world. Does that come across all right?
It did. And what I like in the simplicity of what you were saying, because I really identify what you just said about starting, because that's the key. I've had this Facebook group now for about 7 months that we've been communicating and putting the talks out there to this new group. And it's been on my heart to begin a coaching program for those who were interested. And I put it off, and I had committed to myself yesterday that I was going to begin to put it out there for those who were interested in coaching, because what I realized, I'm keeping what it is that I know to myself if I'm not sharing it, the benefit of personal one-on-one coaching.
It's just that starting, that's all it is. Exactly that. You have to start something, but then you have to stay with it. See, that's the secret of it all, is you staying with it. You can have any idea you want, and as long as you stay with it, it'll add to itself. It'll expand and expand. But the moment you move away, it's gone. Are you ready now? That's the question.
And I appreciate that, because that's what I did. I started. And that's for anyone out there. Start. It may be a blog. And a blog for you, Linda, is basically a journal on the internet where somebody's talking about their day or whatever. They can start a YouTube doing videos, talking about what it is that you know. Start a Facebook group. But whatever you desire to do, begin to do that thing now. That's what Lindell's challenging you to do, to start. Don't wait for permission, because, see, there's going to always be a naysayer that says, why are you qualified?
It's like Shakespeare said, I could easier teach 20 what we're good to do than to be one to take my own instruction.
Absolutely. And that's actually a very good point. Some of you are going to think to yourself, I have to be perfect to do this.
Yeah.
Nonsense. Sometimes in your imperfections, you can speak louder than the person who has gone their whole life and did everything right. Would you agree?
Yes, absolutely. I've actually had someone come who belonged to a church to me and say that after being a certain person for 40 years, and he said, you touched upon things I never heard in all that time, because they would have let you be free of them had they told you. Because you're in control, you're in charge. The idea is to take charge, to be aware, discipline yourself enough to allow yourself to actually entertain the idea of being I am that, your dream, your mission, your goal. It's always right with you. But you have to turn to it. You have to show up. It's you thinking from is the thing itself.
I appreciate you talking about the gentleman that said he had spent 40 years in a church. It doesn't have to be a church. It could be a religious environment. It could be a synagogue. It could be Catholic Mass, whatever that thing is that you're attached to.
Yes, absolutely.
Most people, they don't want you free.
Yeah.
What we're talking about is liberation.
Yes. Yes. Actually, that's it, isn't it?
It is.
Everybody's looking for freedom. I mean, isn't that the goal of every country, to have freedom, really?
Absolutely.
I mean, that is the mass mind reasoning one, that there are always a few, there's always wars and rumors of wars. But, there has to be some kind of a reckoning within the individual's soul that he choose what he knows to choose and do so openly, so that someone else can see the results of doing so. Because that's what all the famous statues and all that were for, that these people did great things because they took a simple idea and they stuck with it until it was successful. And that's all you need to do. It says, as within, so without. So be successful within, and you'll be successful without. It's that simple. And if you keep it simple, like just a kiss, keep it simple, stupid. Boy, that really hit me. I was use everything. Examine it to dust. But you see, the thing of it is, there comes a time when you're going to hear something that's really going to resonate with you. And when it does, open it and quicken it. That's what Neville would say. You know, Neville did the really deep work of understanding how it all began. But you know, you don't need all of that to change your mind and change your world. And actually, if you do that first, then the other will be a natural thing to do. It's always up to the individual. Are you ready now? That's the question, isn't it?
I like what you said about, you just said Neville did all the work. And you said start there.
Oh, yeah, really. Neville did the work. But what he told you was simply what he started out with the first, I think it was 10, 12 years anyway. He started out with the idea of change your mind, change your world. That was it. In other words, people wanted things, people wanted to change things, and everybody was looking for change of something. Like he said, he don't think he ever met a person who didn't want to change something. Well, you do it by changing it in yourself. Because you're told very plainly, as within, so without. The without is all the imagining you've ever done. That's how you construct your world of everyday experiencing, as you think you are. That seems to be very, very explanational to me. All you have to do is focus on being what you want to be, not what you don't want. And that's what generally most people are attached to. They bind themselves to these ideas of what can go wrong. And then when it does, they say, see, look. But come on. As you think you are. Wouldn't that trigger you to watch what you're thinking? Because it isn't falling into the past, it's being projected into your future. And you have control of what you're saying if you'll take it, if you'll use it. You're told, choose this day. And the point is that's not a request. I thought Neville made that very clear, that's not a request. It's what's actually taking place in your world of experiencing, because it isn't falling into the past. It's being projected into the future. And you're going to face it. And when you do, wow, why did that happen? Well, if you could trace it back, follow the dots back to when you were thinking, well, yeah, but that's, generally most people don't know what they had for dinner 2 or 3 nights ago, unless they cooked it. What do you think?
I'm having to think what I had last night, so yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah, well, I was thinking about that, but that's why I said that. Important ideas down. The rest of it doesn't matter anyway. It all goes away. If you'll let it go. That was really a tough one for me. Let go, let God. That was a tough one. I always found myself hanging on to something that it was over with, so it should have been let go of. But you let it bother you, you let it bug you over and over and over, and then you wonder why you die of stress. Because you create it. You're stirring your own pot there, so make sure the ingredients in it are correct. You're actually making your world moment by moment. Consciousness is always being objectified. Think about it. Actually think from it. That's the idea, don't you think? It's all an attitude. That's what we're told. It's all an attitude. Your whole life is structured by your attitudes.